Good afternoon, my dear participants. Welcome to the second session of day 2. Dr. Nagaratna A. Madam, our resource person is already joined the session. Request to inform your friends to join soon. Madam, I request you kindly to take over the session, madam.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you are audible.
Please share the slide. The slide is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I request participants to mute yourself unless there is a question, and you can keep leaving your questions in the chat box. And if I happen not to see it, just somebody can alert me. Okay, so we were actually looking at a section which criminalizes receiving or retaining any stolen computer system, computer communication device. But if you look at this section, it also uses the word computer resource. Now, computer resource would mean software programs also. So what does this mean? So can there be a stolen computer resource? So actually, when it comes to software programs, so stolen software programs may not be there, but pirated software programs like pirated antivirus program. So all those things, if it is pirated, not a licensed one, and if I'm using it, retaining it, receiving it, I can be booked under 66B. So far we've discussed two sections. So one is 65, which is about computer source code, and the second one is 66B, which is about receiving or retaining stolen communication device. Is it echoing even now? Is it fine? I don't have any other device connected. Okay. So let's go back to previous sections, which I had skipped because it's one of the most important section, at the same time, very, very wider. So this is section 66. So as I said earlier, keep in mind that there are some wrongs which are civil as well as criminal. And one example is section 66. Now section 66 just says, if any person dishonestly or fraudulently. Sir, is it clear? Yeah.
Madam, there is an echo from your side, madam.
No, sir. Actually, I don't have any device. I'll just.
Dear participants, we request you kindly to mute your microphone.
Yeah. So is it okay? Section 66 is about criminalizing some civil wrongs. So is it fine?
Yes, madam.
Thank you. Okay. Right. Okay. So carefully look at the word. So this is supposed to have state of mind also. Otherwise, you can't file a criminal case, as I said earlier. So this is the most important section, which is of use to most of us. See, yesterday in India, we celebrated National Legal Services Day. So the object of this day was to spread legal awareness. So when you're doing this FDP, especially legal components are very, very important. So, and then because I'm sure most of you have heard about an issue, like about a principle called ignorance of law is not an excuse, right? So tomorrow, without knowing I do an offense, I can't say, no, I didn't know. Like, you know, Riya Chakrabarti, she can't say, no, I didn't know that even procuring drug was an offense. So anything which is illegal, and I can't say I didn't know it, because law is something that we should know, and we should also help others to know. What can government do? Maximum, they'll notify the law in the official gazette. That's it. So they can't come to each one of us and make us know. So it's a duty to know the law. Now coming back to cybercrime, this is one section under which a lot of cyber crimes are covered. Okay, so that's 66. Section 66 of the IT Act says, whoever dishonestly or fraudulently does any act which is covered under section 43 can be punished with imprisonment, fine, or both. So this is basically a criminal law provision. But what are the crimes here? Any offense which is covered under 43 becomes a criminal offense under 66. So what is this 43? Now 43 is a section under which for the same offense you can file civil case. And the same civil cases becomes criminal cases under 66 if you are able to prove that I have done it with dishonest or fraudulent intention. So let's first go through 43, then I'll come to dishonestly and fraudulently. So I'm now moving to 43. So you can feel like why I'm jumping from 66 to 43. That's because 43 allows you to get remedies by filing a civil case for all these wrongs or offenses. And the same 43 becomes 66. It becomes a criminal offense under 66 if it is committed with So 43 says, if any person without permission of the owner or any person who's in charge of a computer system, computer network. So let's assume you're the employer and I'm the employee. So you've given me a computer to use for my work purpose. So you're the owner of that computer and I'm the person officially in charge of that computer. Another example, the university owns the computer, gives it to the staff. So university is the owner, the staff is the person officially in charge. Now, without the permission of both, if I access that computer or I secure access into that computer, directly accessing, I just open your computer without your permission. Or I secure access, maybe by hacking or other technical procedure or through another person. So I gain access into your computer without your permission or without the permission of the owner or authorized person. So I'm committing an offense under 43. You can file a civil case. Or like the next offense is, I access your computer and start downloading the data from your computer. Maybe your files, your articles, the book you've written, which is on your laptop. I start downloading it without your permission. It's an offense under B. So this is basically about data stealing. So if you're able to relate this to cyber crimes, A is about hacking and unauthorized access. B is about data stealing. Now, I don't copy it from your laptop. I copy it from your pen drive also. This section applies because if you see the words downloads, copies or extracts. See, extracting is, it means I just take a part of your data. For example, let's assume you have a 10-page article. I only copy 5 page or 5 paragraph or 5 lines. It's enough to make out the offense because extracting is even a part of it. So I don't take all the file, I only take one file. I don't take the entire content of a file, I just take a part of it. Offense can be made out. So it says downloads or I copy. I don't even download or delete. I just copy and paste it into my computer or my pen drive. So, and I take it from your computer system, computer network, or from a removable storage medium. So removable storage medium means your pen drive, CD, memory card, memory chip. For example, let's assume we've gone for a vacations, we've taken photos. So I want to copy the photos from your memory chip into like my device. But instead of copying only those photos, I also copy your other photos. So then this section will apply. So this is data stealing. When I send virus into a computer, malware attack, so C will apply. Or let's assume I have a pen drive, there are some notes on it, I share it with my friend. While downloading the notes, my friend also gets, a viruses that gets downloaded. So she can file a case on me under clause C because this is about introducing any computer contaminant or virus. See, this is the reason why I initially said that the offender here can be any, including us. Unknowingly, we might be committing these offenses of sharing virus. I'm not talking about huge malware attacks, but just this small virus that we, end up like sharing when we are sharing the pen drives. Right? So that is also covered under C. B is damaging a computer. So maybe there is a strike which is going on. So I go and like damage computers in a government office. This section will apply. Or I do not damage the computer, but I damage the data in the computer. Example, I just open your laptop, delete all your files. So then D will apply. So this is damaging any computer or the data or the programs available on the computer. And you have E, which is causing disruption of computer. Now I know today is the last day for you to work on your thesis, but I somehow want to disturb your working. So what I do, like I know you're dependent on a laptop at home, you're working, and I deliberately go and switch off the main switch of the electricity supply. So because of that, you're not able to work for a long period. Maybe battery supply is also not enough. So I've got disruption. So it can be even simple acts like this. Or I introduce a malware, a virus, because of which there is disruption of your computer. Or I just put a password and because of that there is disruption. You don't know the password, so you're unable to use your computer, right? Anything like this. I take control of your computer and don't let you work on it. Or denying your access to your computer. Maybe I encrypt your data, example, ransomware attack. So when you open the laptop, you suddenly realize you're unable to open any files on it because it's all encrypted because of a ransomware attack. So I say you'll get back your data if you only pay me ransom. So that will also come under denial of access. Or again, in a bank, like, when they share the computers and all the employees. So when one employee leaves the computer unattended and goes, by the time he or she comes, I put a password to it. So that person is unable to open the laptop screen. So these are covered under E and F. Then I do not hack your computer, but I help another person to hack your computer by assisting that person. I help him to access your computer, or hack your computer. So G will apply. And then the next one is quite interesting. You're getting the bill for the services that I am availing. For example, if you have a Wi-Fi connection and if you feel your bill is huge and your consumption of internet service is this, so that's because somebody in your neighborhood maybe is using your internet service, right? So this even happens in colleges and all. So we get huge bill compared to the actual usage, legal usage. So that's because somebody is getting the service and you're getting charged for it. So head says charges the services availed by one person into the account of another by way of tampering or manipulating a computer system, computer network. Now, another example is where I do a manipulation on your bank account. And because of that, I start using your bank card for my online services. So I get the benefit, but you're getting charged for it. Then you have another section which is whoever deletes, destroys, or alters information which is there on the computer. Look at these words. It's so wide that it can cover any or every cybercrime. I am not, sending any malware attacks. Like I'm not like, attacking your computer, but I just see your information on a computer and delete that information, alter that information, and committing an offense. Or I just do something with which the value of the information that you have on your computer gets affected. Now, this will also include cases where maybe you have written a confidential, proposal, project proposal, or maybe you have a confidential file, or maybe you have a price tender and you want to maintain confidentiality. But I go and look at that file. The moment I see the one who's not supposed to have is not authorized or supposed to have seen it. The moment I see it, its value is lost. Maybe I belong to a rival company. Now I know your price tender. I'll go and quote a lesser one. So the value of your information is lost. Or something like, shoulder surfing. You're entering your PIN number in an ATM machine. I'm standing behind you and seeing that PIN number. The moment I see it, its confidentiality is lost, its utility is lost, right? So that can also come under stealing, concealing, destroying, or altering any computer source code will also come under 43. So now all these are the offences under 43 for which you can file a civil case and ask for compensation or damages from the wrongdoer. Okay. Now, if I've committed all these offences with a dishonest intention or a fraudulent intention, you can even file a criminal case against me. Now, you should know what is dishonest or a fraudulent intention. Dishonest intention means I have an intention to gain something wrongfully. See, I don't deserve to gain this benefit, but I'm getting it illegally. Example, otherwise I wouldn't have got that tender. But because I had your file, I got to know your price tender. So I quoted a lesser price and I got the tender. So I've got it wrongfully. So I've got wrongful gain, or you have lost it wrongfully. You didn't deserve to lose that project. But because of me, you lost it wrongfully. Otherwise, you deserve to have got it. Now, I'm not exaggerating this because these kind of incidences have happened. So there was a news saying like last year on some project, when price tenders were called for in the state of Andhra Pradesh, there were a lot of hacking incidences that were reported, so which actually affected this entire tendering process, and the concerned government had to recall for tender. So, over here when I'm hacking, it's very clear that I'm hacking these files, these contents, because I want to wrongfully gain, or I want you to wrongfully lose. I don't want you to get that project. So like that. So when you're able to prove dishonest intention, you can file a criminal case. You cannot prove, then at least you can file a civil case. So then fraudulently means where I have intention to deceive a person, to cheat a person. So this is 66 I'm talking about. 43 becomes 66 if it is done with fraudulent or dishonest intention. So fraudulently means where there is an intention to deceive somebody, defraud somebody, cheat somebody. So I want to get into your file, collect some data, use it for some fraud. So then you can file a case under 66, right? So you want to file a civil case, where do you go? You want to file a criminal case, where do you go? I'll explain that little later. So this is 66. Hope there are no questions relating to this. Then we have 66A. So maybe I'll just finish these sections and take the questions. You can, in the meantime, leave the questions in the chat box. Let's come to the most interesting section. That's 66A, which said, if a person sends any message or any information through computer resource or communication device, and you know that these informations are grossly offensive or has menacing character in it, so then he's committing an offense under 66A. Or I'm sending you an information which I know is false, but I'm still sending it so that I annoy you, or I cause inconvenience to you, or I cause danger, obstruction, insult, injury to somebody, intimidation, enmity, or I'm putting a message which is going to cause ill will amongst people, or it's going to create hatredness, like that Bangalore incident, which became a communal, violence almost. So the one who posted that post could have been booked under this section. So basically, writing anything on social media, posting anything on internet platform, sending anything through messages, emails, WhatsApp. So unless provided that thing is offensive, has menacing character, can cause injury, insult, etc., were all crime under 66A. It further said, sending anything which made you believe as if you received it from so and so source, but actually it's not from so and so source. Example, I send you an email in the name of your bank, but I'm the sender, not your bank. So, I'm misleading you about the source of that information. So all these were covered under 66A. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, this section is now removed from ITAL. The reason, some of you might know the reason, but I don't know whether you can relate it to this section. So there were two girls who were arrested in Mumbai after one of the political leaders' death. Because one girl wrote on Facebook, like there was almost like entire Mumbai was shut. So she writes, I don't know why, people had to react like this. It looks like as if entire Mumbai is shut. So she writes a post like this. Her friend likes that post, and we all know what happens once you like something on Facebook. It gets reposted, right? So at least people can see so and so liked so and so post, so it gets republished technically, actually. So it is nothing but sending any message, right? So both of them were arrested under this section in Mumbai, and they were denied bail for a few days. And then, like this, there were many arrests happening across the country. So there was one person who who drew the cartoon of West Bengal chief minister, posted it on online platform. He also got arrested. There's a lawyer who was arrested in Hyderabad. So like that, for whatever I was writing, if I could get arrested, then where do we have fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression? Right, and which is guaranteed to us by the Constitution. So there was a PIL, public interest litigation, filed by a law student called Shreya Singhal, and this matter goes to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court says that this section is violative of freedom of speech and expression. So they strike down the entire section. So they've removed this section. So therefore today, under this section, no one can be arrested, no one can be booked. But unfortunately, some police officers do not know that this is been removed, and they still arrest people under 66A. That's one thing. Now, what if I've written anything about, and I say that which affects the reputation of India, integrity, sovereignty, security? So then I can still be booked under IPC. Those sections are still there. Only this is removed. So therefore, today, if I write something that can create communal violence, I'll be booked under IPC. If I write something that creates terror in the minds of people, I can be booked under anti-terror laws. If I write something that can cause intimidation to a woman, I can be booked under IPC. So like this, other sections continue, but this section is removed. Okay. So this was removed by Supreme Court in Shreya Singhal versus Union of India. Let's now go to our next section. 66E is about whoever fraudulently or dishonestly makes use of your electronic signature. Now, electronic signature is a wider term. It can even include anything with which you get electronically identified on cyberspace, like your email address, the scan signature, digital signatures, passwords, PIN numbers, etc. Now, I use your email ID. I make a slight change and send a fraudulent email to your friend. So it can come as an offense under 66C, because it says whoever steals your identity on cyberspace can be booked under this. Or another example, I take your photograph and your name and I create your fake profile. So I can be booked under 66C. Let's keep it a little interactive. So you can either answer in the chat box or you can unmute and answer if that's allowed. What if I use the photograph of a celebrity as my profile picture on social media? Do you think I'm stealing the identity of that person? So therefore I can be booked under 66C. So, see, law is nothing but common sense. So I'm sure you can answer all this, just based on like, a general understanding. So I use, say, for example, say Deepika Padukone's, photograph as my profile picture. Is it fine? Or am I stealing her identity? Yeah. So it is stealing identity. Okay. So is it a criminal offense? So now that you know mens rea, actus reus. I'm fond of that person. So I use, yes, exactly. So unless you're able to prove that I have stolen your identity to commit fraud or is with a dishonest intention, it is not wrong. See, between you and me, maybe it's more clearer case, because why should I use your photograph when I don't even know you? But between a celebrity and a common person, I'm just fond of that person. He's a political leader or a cinestar. So in every case like this, it's not possible to make out mens rea, state of mind. So it's not an offense. So therefore, how do you show that I had that mens rea? So if you look at that situation, suppose I just have Aishwarya Rai's photograph or Deepika Padukone's photograph on my Facebook profile, and the name is still Nagaratna, it's fine. But I changed my name also. So it is photograph plus name also, Deepika Padukone. Still okay. Very difficult to prove the case against me beyond reasonable doubt. But every day I'm only posting about things related to Deepika Padukone. For example, I just say today I was in shooting. Then tomorrow I say today I'm in a foreign trip. So I just put her photo and write something indicating as if she's writing. So readers start believing that it is she who is writing. Right? Then one day I start saying, see, I'm doing a charity, collection. Can you please send some money so that I use it for some NGO? You believe it is Deepika Padukone and you start sending money, right? So then it is very clear that I have stolen her identity with a fraudulent or a dishonest intention. So similarly, when you get emails from your bank, which exactly looks like your bank's email, same logo, with when you click on the link, same, many times we get it even in the name of RBI governor with his signature and all. So that is identity stealing identity of a person. And as I said earlier, person includes even an institution, right? So next section is, I send you an email in the name of your friend. He's 66C because I've stolen identity of your friend. You believe it is your friend and you get cheated. So then it is 66D. Now we should understand what is cheating. Cheating legally means where I have misrepresented facts. That is, I've made some false statements. I've lied to you and you believed in that lie. So you believe in that misrepresented fact and you get cheated. So that means you believe in what I said and you hand over something valuable to me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have handed over that valuable thing to me had you not believed in my misrepresented fact. But because you believed, you handed over valuable thing to me. So that is cheating. Or you wouldn't have entered into an agreement, but you have now entered into an agreement because you got cheated, because you believed in my misrepresented facts. Example, I make you believe that I belong to so and so, caste category because I've created fake caste certificates. You believe in it and you recruit me. You employ me for a reserved post. So that is cheating because I have made you believe that I belong to a particular caste. You believed and you have entered into an agreement of employment with me, which you wouldn't have entered had you knew the real fact, right? So that is generally cheating. Now coming back to online scenario, I make you believe that I'm A and I'm selling a car which is of X brand. You get cheated and you realize it after buying it. So this is cheating by personation. I have impersonated somebody while cheating. Okay, let me give you a few examples of actual incidences, but I'll not take the real names to maintain privacy of those people. So there was one case where an NRI who was residing in US got a friend on Facebook. They became very close. He proposed her, like this girl was from India. I'll not take the place name also. So they became very close and he proposed her. She agreed to marry him. They were chatting for a long time. See, now you have video calls and all. This was like few years back when it was just purely like, text messages, photographs and all. So video calls were not so frequently, like, easily available that time. So I'd never seen her except that, I'd seen her photographs and he was, however, calling and all. So they were speaking over the phone. So then once like he decides to come and meet her, and this was like when I decided to even marry. So she asked him to get some gifts and all, including camera, laptop and all. So he comes to India Then she calls him saying, I can't meet you because my parents are not allowing me to meet you, but my friend will come and collect the gifts. So the friend goes to the place where they decided to meet, collects the gifts, comes back, he goes back to US. So then he continued to chat with her, talk to her for few more, for some more time. And then one day he showed her photograph to a person from India, a South Indian person, saying, I'm going to get married to her. So that person said, you can't marry her. She was a well-known cinestar from South India. So then he realized that he got cheated. So this is cheating by personation, where a celebrity's photo identity was used by this girl who had collected the gifts. And this was like long back when these cyber crimes were new. So unfortunately, he came back to India. He registered a case, and when investigation was done, it was revealed that it was the same girl who had collected the gift who had cheated him. So like this, many incidences have happened. Like nowadays, people are even exchanging oaths and getting married online. And there is one case where a person married online, started sending money to a lady from like India. So, but then later, when he realized there's something fishy, he comes to India, gets it investigated. So the lady was speaking from India, turned out to be a man who was using some app to change the voice. So like this, a lot of incidences have happened, including like phishing attacks and all can come under 66C and D. So you should understand 66D is when I'm only stealing your identity. D is when I steal your identity and somebody else believes me to be you and gets cheated. So other example of recently this has happened, like even amongst my own friend circle, one person got affected. There's an email sent in an office to colleagues saying, I'm in need of immediate help. Can you contact me back? No one usually sends like this. So even if your friends or colleagues send it, at least you should call up and find out, what exactly is the issue. So this person responded saying, how can I help you? So that person said, my family members are all hospitalized. And during COVID, everyone tends to believe, right? Now, at least we're not taking it seriously. But this was in, May, when everyone was taking this very seriously. So he said, how can I help you? Like, this is all through email communication, no phone call, unfortunately, to verify. So he asked, please send money through coupons. So this person got some coupons and sent the money. Later, twice he sent money. And then third time he got, doubt. And then when he called, he realized it was all like fraudulent emails to which he was responding. That person was not the one who was sending the emails. So like this, a lot of incidences have happened. So that's 66C and D, right? Up to here, I hope it's fine. But as I said, I'll take the question at the end. Let's come to the next section. If you look at this section, it's quite misleading because it says violation of privacy. This has nothing to do with data privacy. If you look at the content, it says whoever intentionally or knowingly captures, publishes, or transmits image of a private area of any person without that person's consent under the circumstances violating privacy. So this means over here, I'm taking photograph of a person's body's private area. Right? So that is what is criminalized under this section. So it has nothing to do with data. Example. Sometimes you have you have heard about incidences. Even Smriti Irani had alleged this, that there was a hidden camera in a changing room. So those kind of offenses comes under this, or like secretly capturing the private moments of a person. So this comes under 66. This is also referred to as OA under IPC. And if you look at the explanation, it's very clear. So therefore, now a question will arise: what if A takes photograph of B in a park? Can that come under this section? No, because taking photograph in a park, it's not about a place where somebody is expecting privacy. But taking photograph in a changing room can come under this section. I hope that's clear. Any questions? Right. So let's go to the next section. This is about cyber terrorism. It says whoever intentionally does anything, like if you look at subsections, denies access, attempts to penetrate, that is hack, introduces virus with an intention to threaten unity, integrity, security, sovereignty of India, or to strike terror in the minds of people, then it is called as cyber terrorism. So it's any other cyber crime like hacking or virus attack or DOS attack, which are done in such a manner that it affects unity, integrity, security, sovereignty of the country. Example, like maybe I attack a computer which is used for extremely important work to do with security of the country and all. So then I can be booked under this section. This section further says doing anything like, like stealing data, misusing data. So, but in such a manner that it causes injury to the sovereignty, integrity, security of the nation. It affects public order, decency, morality. So then it can also come under cyber terrorism. Quite a vast section, but if the intention is to affect national security, this section comes into picture. And for this, if you observe, imprisonment is more. Otherwise, other sections they were talking about imprisonment up to 3 years, but here it is about imprisonment for life. Then we have 67. It's about whoever publishes or transmits. Publishing is publishing it in the online platform. Secondly, transmitting it is where I share it from my mobile to your mobile. Any material which is obscene in nature, which is something that affects the prurient interest of a person, which can deprave the mind of a person. Basically, it's nothing but obscene content. So publishing it or transmitting it online is an offense. Somebody repeatedly does, punishment is more. So similar to 67, we have 67A, which is publishing anything which has porn content, pornographic content is an offense. So 67, 67A are similar, right? But if you look at the words used in this section, this is whoever publishes or transmits. What if I'm only watching porn content? Can I be booked under this section? Any answers? If I'm just watching, obscene content, porn content on my mobile phone, can I be booked under this section? Any answers? You can type your answers, yes or no. I'm just like, let's go to this slide. I think you have a photograph that helps you to see. Sometimes we unfortunately have seen this happen. Okay, so some of you say yes, some of you say no. So watching is not a crime. If you look at this section, it says whoever publishes publish it on internet platform, or I have to send from my device to another device. So watching, possessing is not a crime. Mr. Venkatesh, can you put yourself? I don't think he's even alert. So let's continue. So this is 67, 67A. There are a couple of cases that are decided under this section. There was one case where a doctor who was a orthopedic surgeon used to take photographs of his patients, basically nude patients and all, nude photographs of his women patients. He used to publish it online, sell it through CDs. So he was punished under this section. There's another case where a person had proposed a girl during college days. He had refused to marry. Then she marries another person, but she divorces her husband. So this person comes back and again proposes her. She refuses. So then he gets annoyed or rather angry, and then he publishes her photo with email saying, I'm available for so and so service in so and so place and all. So that's when she starts receiving annoying phone calls and all. So he was also punished under this section. It's called Suhas Katti. So like this, you have a couple of cases. There was another case where two children from a school in Delhi make their own video recording of certain obscene content. They upload it on a website called Bazi.com. And this website was the one that is available for the downloading. People could download the content from it on payment. So a lot of people accessed this, they downloaded it. The CEO of the company was arrested under this section, but later, anyways, he was excused on other procedural issues. But this is another relevant case that falls under pornography. Okay. So that's about 67 and 67A. So then you have 67B, but before that, child pornography is treated differently. It is taken more seriously in our country. Why so? I'll come to that later. But there was one incident that had happened a few years back. The FBI from US conducted a sting operation, and they just uploaded some link, and the name of the link was given in such a manner that if somebody would see it, it would look as if it would take them to child porn material. So people started clicking on this, and this is called as sweetie sting operation. So a lot of people from across the world were trying to watch this. So after this, the FBI released the report, and it showed that from India, many people tried to access this website. So which showed that a lot of people from India tried to access CP material, child porn material. When the report came, obviously this affected reputation of the of our country. So Supreme Court suo moto means on its own took cognizance to control over the matter, and they asked Ministry of Information Technology to come up with solutions. And if you remember, there were notifications of government, said that we'll block so-and-so websites and all because they had torn contents. But people were criticizing this, saying this is against freedom of speech and expression. So anyways, finally they withdrew the notification. Now let's come back to the section. This is when we say, if the material is about child porn material, whoever publishes, transmits, creates, collects, seeks, browsers, downloads. So basically, whoever is possessing can also be liable under this section. I think a lot of people are unmuted. So can we mute them from the college side? Okay, so I'm just distinguishing adult pornography with child pornography. When it comes to child pornography, even possession, watching, everything is a crime. But when it comes to adult pornography, only publication or transmission is the crime. Right, so let's come to our next section, which is about critical information infrastructure handling computers. Now, these, as I said some time back, these are like those computers with which we generally ensure that day-to-day services, which are extremely crucial services, are supplied. These are the computers which, if is incapacitated, if is attacked, can affect national security, economy, public health, and safety. Example, maybe Aadhaar system. So if I subject Aadhaar computer with cyber attack, I can be booked under this section. But for that purpose, you have to declare a computer as a protected computer through an official declaration, that is through a notification in the official gazette. So therefore, hacking your computer will come under 43 or 66, and hacking a protected computer will fall under 70. Okay. So that's about the sections under which people can be charged under IT Act. Now, what if these crimes are committed in a company? Company can also be punished along with the officers of the company. As I said earlier, company is a legal person. They can also be subjected to liability under IT Act if offences are committed in the name of company or within the company, so they can also be booked. And if I am the director of a company, officer in charge of a company, a manager of a company, if I'm head of a department, and in my department crimes are committed, I can also be booked along with my company. However, if I'm able to show that I was careful, I took all due care and caution, but despite that, the offense took place and I didn't know about it, then I'll be excused, then I'll not be punished. Otherwise, if I'm not careful and in my office a crime takes place, I can be put under section 85 along with my company. Right? Any questions up to here? Okay, so I may just have to use the slide just to type it. So and before that, I'll just check the questions in the chat. Okay, there's a question which says, a friend, I'll not take the name of the person who sent the question. A friend of mine on WhatsApp received a message stating that you've given guarantee for a loan amount of 1 lakh for some unknown person, and you're telling that and insisting borrower to pay money, otherwise legal action will be initiated. Can we neglect such messages? No. Sending messages, and you don't know the sender, so he's an unknown borrower. So yes, of course, it's better to ignore these messages, especially when you're clear that you've not signed as a guarantee anyway. But sometimes, it's always better to check with your bank. So if it is, if it is referring to a particular bank and all, it's just better to check, because what if somebody has used your identity, your document to actually sign as a guarantor, in your name. So just better check with the concerned banks if you know the details. Otherwise, better is not to respond to these messages. Yeah. So I think that's the only question that's quite relevant. Right. So let's continue then. So next I want to talk about procedural issues, right? So, and that is the focus of this session. Yeah, so I just use a empty slide so that I can explain what I wanted to. Okay, so just before that, see, as I said earlier, crime can happen in 4 stages: intention, preparation, attempt, and commission. Intention stage, it's never punishable because I have my, I made my mind to hack your computer. You can't punish me because for this, how do you prove what is in my mind? It's not possible. So you can't punish me for intending to commit a crime. Preparation also you cannot punish unless it is preparation to wage war, preparation to commit terrorism, preparation for counterfeitation, preparation for dacoity. So except for these offences, all other offences, preparation is also not punishable. Reason is, again, it's very difficult to prove it with the evidences. Usually evidences are not clear when I'm just preparing. But and also a reason is I can decide not to commit that offense anytime, right? So you give me chance till the last moment. So preparation stage is also generally not punishable. Attempt is punishable because from my side I've done the dangerous act. But because of some third person, third party, the commission did not take. For example, I'm about to insert a hacking device in your computer. By then you come and stop me. So had you not come, I would have done it, right? So that is attempt, where I cross the stage of preparation. So attempt is punishable. So therefore, murder is punishable. Attempt to murder is also punishable. Preparation to commit murder is not punishable. I go and get a knife, sharpen it, not punishable. I stab or I'm about to stab, somebody holds me, then it is attempt. From my side, I've done, but I'm held back by third person, it is attempt, so it's punishable. Okay, so we'll keep this in mind. If you look at the next section, it's about attempt to commit cybercrime. So I'm about to hack, but I've stopped, I can be booked under 84C. Or I'm attempting to send a malware, to your computer, I can be booked. Or I'm attempting to say publish an online, obscene content, I can be booked. Okay, so attempt to commit cybercrime is booked under, can be taken care of under 85C. There's another term we should be aware of. It's called as abatement. Now, what is abatement? There are 3 ways in which a person can abet the commission of a crime. So one is, so if you look at the explanation, the first one is abatement by instigation. Instigating somebody to commit a crime. So I instigate a person, say, go hack the system. There's so much of valuable information in it. It will help you for your tender. Or I say, go and rob that bank. It will help you, get rid of your loan, your debt. Or I say, you're useless. You should go and kill yourself. So I'm instigating that person for suicide. So that is instigation. So it is called as abatement by instigation. The second one is abatement by aiding, like where I'm helping a person to commit a crime. I'm not committing, but I'm helping a person by aiding him. Example, I give a person the hacking device and ask him to go and just insert it on your device. So I'm just helping him. Or I know that this person is going to rob a bank. So, but I'm, taking him in my car to the bank, picking him up back from the bank, or I'm giving him a weapon so that he commits an offense. So this is abatement by aiding. The third one is abatement by conspiracy. Conspiracy means 2 or more than 2 people planning to commit a crime. So I and another person plan to hack a bank website. So then after our plan, he goes and hacks. So I'm also liable because I've committed abatement by hacking. So under cyber law or even under any criminal law, abatement is also a crime, provided I've done it like knowingly. See, I give you a hacking, like let's assume I give you a forensic device, thinking that you're going to use it for some forensic purpose. But if you use it for some anti-forensic, some illegal purpose, I can't be liable. I should know what I'm doing is actually helping the other person to commit a crime. So this is also covered under 84B. So therefore, I may be committing the offense to fall under earlier sections. I'm helping another to commit the offense in the manner provided under 84B. Then I'll be liable under 84B. That person who commits the offense will be liable under other sections. So therefore, abatement of suicide and all is an offense in India. So that's the reason why that whole case of Sushant Singh became an issue. There was no FIR registered. See, otherwise abatement to suicide. If at all somebody has abetted him, if it is purely his decision, no one can be punished. We don't know. Investigation is still going on. We have to wait. So if it is proved that somebody abetted him to commit suicide, then it is a criminal offense. Yeah. So some questions are there, I guess.
Yes, madam, there are 2 questions are here.
Yeah.
Suppose during online lecture, unidentified person displays obscene video how to identify under which section he will be punished.
Okay. See, one is how do you identify is what you're going to learn in your forensic classes, yesterday's, tomorrow's, and all, right? So tomorrow you have like very good resource persons who will be helping you like to understand technical aspects. So how do you identify? How do you get the evidence? How do you collect the evidence? So I'm talking about the legal aspect. So let's assume you got the evidence and you got to know it is A who was one of the participant who published the online material. Now you know it is A, so you book a case under 67 or 67A. And if it is a child porn material, it is 65A, right? So my role comes once you have like technically collected the evidence, then who does it and all is what I'm going to teach anyway. So, but then you should also be very, very clear about under which section you're going to file a case, right? So therefore, this section is important. Now, let's assume it is a child pornography material. So you should actually file a case under 67. But if you file a case under 67, that is adult pornography. If you are using a wrong section, lawyers will use it in the favor of their client. They say, my client has not done an offense under this section. It is some other section. He will not even say it is some other section. He will say you booked him under a section under which offense can't be made out. So release it. So therefore, we should be very clear about which section we're using. Wrongly using a section will favor the accused. So anyways, that's partially an answer from the law perspective. Technically, you'll know how to prove this and all. So sometimes maybe you take the screenshot. So and then that screenshot has the porn material with the name of the person who's posted. So that is one evidence. And then other evidence is to prove that it was you who actually posted. In the sense that A. So to prove that it was A only. Now what if A email was hacked by somebody else? So all those are the other things that you have to take in when you're trying to prove a case before the court.
Madam, another question from the participant, Dr. Bhushan Shivram. Please also comment on the Jamtara cyber fraud cases noticed recently, committing cybercrime using anonymous SIM card case. Can telephone company providing such means can be made party in the IPC?
Okay, so now we should all know the answer. Let's assume I'm the telecom service provider, okay? And you're thinking I leaked your number. And because, they're calling you on your number and all. So you want to file a civil case, it's easier because, I'm supposed to be the one who should take care of your data. I leaked the data. I was not careful. Civil case is okay. But you want to file a criminal case is difficult because you have to prove my state of mind, right? You should prove that this telecom service provider knowingly breached the data, intentionally breached it. It's very difficult to file a criminal case in general. But when it comes to intermediary, there's more a challenge. And I'll add that in some time that follows in the next slide. So partially I've answered, partially I'll retain this for my next concept that I'm going to talk about. But that's because it is a telecom service provider. Let's take another example. So let's assume today at the end of the session, as a resource person, I'll ask you all to give your details of your name, the place you're working, with your pay scale, with your phone number, with your email ID and PAN number. Okay, so I collect it as a person, as Nagatna, as an individual. So you genuinely believe because so and so person is a resource person, you don't think much about it. You share this detail. I go and sell it to a financial institution, and then you start getting offers for loan and also an annoying phone call and all. Here, if you're clear that I leaked it, you can book a case against me. There are sections under which individuals can be booked. Okay, but for an intermediary, there is a problem which I'll mention in some time. Yeah. Any other questions?
Question is here. One more question. If a person abets via publicly or through social media, is that a crime?
Yes, so that's again a very good question. See, if you remember this Blue Whale, that video game. So let's assume I'm a child playing that game. Every day I'm taking that challenge. So at the end, it starts saying you should inflict, injuries on yourself, self-inflict injury. So an example of abetment to cause hurt. Or like let's assume another example. So it says, today you have to fall from 15th floor. I go and fall and die. So that video game, company and all is another issue. But A had forwarded this video game to me, and he was, using this. Let's assume it is A who is, giving all these instructions. It's a clear case of abetment. Okay, so like that. So whether I do it personally or through online is enough. For example, I call a person and say, "You're useless, you're waste, you should go and die yourself." Phone call is also enough. Or email communication is enough to prove that I've instigated. Email communication becomes an evidence. So it need not be personally done, but the most important thing is it should be proved as abetment with all mens rea. See, there are like I'm sure like a lot of us have heard about many incidences where people commit suicide naming somebody else. In Karnataka, people from Karnataka will know a DYSP or SP. Ganpati committed suicide, and before that, this happened in Kurg. So he goes to a private television channel, makes a recording saying that all these people in my department, senior officers are harassing me, home minister is harassing me, chief minister is also involved. Tomorrow something happens to me, they are responsible. So he names them, all superior officers with ministers, and then he commits suicide. Can they be booked for abetment to suicide? No. Harassment is different from abetment to suicide because office related harassment, I'm not saying it's not a crime, but that is a different crime. You can't punish me for abetment because in abetment, I should clearly know that I'm inciting him to commit a wrong. I'm instigating him to commit a wrong. So that clarity should be there. Another example, Sushant Singh's, if there is any problem between him and his girlfriend, it's different. She can't be held liable unless we're able to prove that in that differences she has said or done anything that could instigate him to commit suicide. That should clearly come out. Otherwise, she can't be liable for abetment to suicide. Or another example, DK Ravi case. So, we don't know what the final charge sheet was all about. He committed suicide. Did someone abet him? Was it enough to lead to abetment? Is what should be proved by the prosecutor, which is very, very I'll give you an example of a case that actually happened, which will help us to understand like how abetment is proved. There was a case where two boys enter into the room of a girl. I think it was in a hostel. It was a real case. They tried to sexually assault her, but since she screams, so they leave the room. But they say that they'll come back. Okay, so then she commits suicide. Court says maximum you can punish them for, say, attempt to sexually assault and all that, intimidation, other offenses. But they can't be held liable for abetment to suicide because when they did not foresee that what they're doing could lead to her suicide. So it should be very clear in my mind as to what I'm doing can lead to that person's suicide. But okay, so this is in general. Some of you will have question. How about suicide of married women? Many times in-laws are arrested. Now, when it comes to married women, in India, we have a special provision which says if a married woman commits suicide or dies an unnatural death within 7 years from the date of her marriage, and soon before her death, sometime before her death, there was cruelty on her. She was subjected to cruelty by her husband or in-laws in relation to dowry demand, and now she's died an unnatural death, or she's died because of suicide. Then the one who subjected her to cruelty will be presumed. It's a presumption. We presume that one who harassed her is the one who killed her, or the one who harassed her is the one who abetted her suicide. Now, because of this presumption related section, we punish them, not because we are sure that that husband, did anything which led to her suicide. Because husband was subjecting her to cruelty, we presume. Except for this case, all other cases, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that I intended to abet. However,
Madam,
in some cases, there are social factors that matter. See, in one case, mother-in-law tells daughter-in-law who was carrying a child, she was pregnant. She says, there was also dowry-related harassment. She says, no, you're carrying an illegitimate child. That child doesn't belong to my son. I'm going to find a new bride for my son. This girl commits suicide. Then court says, this is enough to abet women in this social scenario in our country. So sometimes what I say, in that scenario might be abatement, but not always. See, because this has to do with cruelty related to dowry demand in a village scenario about a lady who was pregnant, who was harassed also. Sometimes court goes to that extent. So otherwise, it should be very clear as to what I'm saying or doing led to abatement. Yes, sir. Now I'll take the other question.
Madam, one more question from Arvind Shankar Vagaskar. Obscene videos are uploaded on YouTube. Can we directly register case against the YouTube?
Yes, so this is again another question related to intermediary. I'll very quickly come to that. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's about the liability of YouTube, right? But if it is I who is published, now the law is clear. Publication is an offense. Publication on YouTube or Facebook, are they liable? I'll quickly answer that because we're yet to discuss that legal problem.
Yes, ma'am. Madam, one more question from Dr. H.R. Chennamma from SJCA Mysore. That image manipulation comes under which act?
Okay. See, image manipulation by itself is not a problem. It by itself is not a crime. But image manipulation or morphing in such a manner that I create a porn content, obscene content. So, like for example, I just change red color dress to blue color is okay. But I make by using AI or like other tool, I make that picture nude picture. So then it becomes obscenity. So it has to be cyber obscenity, cyber pornography. Just manipulation, not enough. Similarly, bullying in itself is not a problem. Because I call somebody a name, not a problem. But bullying in such a manner that it results in defamation, defamation is the offense. That's the reason why I started with crimes, slowly taking you through the concepts and the provisions.
Madam, nowadays the media channels, you might have seen many media channels are there. So these media channels are directly or indirectly, sometimes most of the times indirectly, they provoke and divide the generation. So is it not an offense?
Right. So again, two things. So one is what I write on Facebook. So I'm like, let's assume I'm a leftist. So I start writing against the government. And so much so that people start hating government. Then I also the way I've written leads to some protest, like what happened immediately after CA. So let's assume because of my post, all these people gathered in Bangalore and went for a protest. So if you're able to prove that my post abetted this law and order situation, abetted this disturbance to law and order situation, I can be booked. So many times you've seen how people get arrested. Very recently, we had a student who was arrested from JNU for making a video recording of his speech. So police thought it is enough to result in sedition, that is creating enmity against the state. So that's one issue about a person doing. Now, but then my question will be like, I have freedom of speech and expression. I was just writing about what I felt about the state, about the government. Why should I be booked? So there's always this dilemma between freedom of speech and expression and then this law and order situation, sedition and all. Okay. So how the law has balanced? The law, especially after Shreya Singhal case, says that yes, you have freedom of speech and expression. Say whatever you want, publish whatever you want, unless whatever you have said leads to sedition, that is creating enmity about the state government, or unless whatever said leads to terrorism. So sedition, terrorism, waging war, creating terror in the minds of people, or it affects communal violence, or if it affects, say, it abets commission of crime. I ask people, come from this community, that community is saying these things against us. Let's gather, go and attack them. So if this is the post, then I as an individual can be liable. If you can recollect what happened in UP, what happened in Karnataka also. When healthcare workers went to a particular region, they were attacked. Why? Because WhatsApp messages said they're coming to gather this information under CA Act. Don't share with them. So it led to that abetment. So if it is my message that abetted you to attack healthcare workers, I can be liable for abetment, and you can be liable for attacking them. Similarly, UP also, and doctor also unfortunately died. So that is abetment. Okay. Now coming to this, media. So media also, like how we have freedom of speech and expression, media also has freedom of press. But every freedom has reasonable restriction. That is what the court has said in Shreya Singhal and similar cases. Yes, you have freedom of speech and expression. Say everything, but not the one that leads to abetment to crime, that leads to terrorism, sedition, etc. So that is where we're balancing. So many times, where is that line that you draw between the two is very difficult to.
Very difficult.
Yeah, so it's for the court to decide. So that's when, those JNU case and all, we should wait and see. See, some people say, it is liberty, he could have said all that and all. So some people are always against these laws. But imagine if you remove this law, what will happen? See, we removed 66A because those two girls got arrested, incidences like this. But what happened after 66A is the very horrible situation. As a woman, I say this because 66A, had it been there, bullying could have been regulated, trolling could have been regulated. So today people can write and say anything online, and you hardly have a section under which I can get immediate relief. Especially for women and all, it's like any obscene content, it takes time to get it removed. Because if there is an obscene content on YouTube, If YouTube voluntarily removes it, it's fine. But if they don't remove it immediately, where do I file a case? 66A is not there. At least obscenity you have 67. But if there is an annoying message, so even now, like there are a lot of cases where somebody just writes something about a person, that person loses job. So I go and write about a girl, about her character, and in a country like in India, that marriage prospectus of that girl is ruled out, and every time you Google that girl's name, only that post comes. So, it can affect her future prospectus. Or I write about a person, he can lose his job. I can say, like, he's a cheater in my company and all. Cheated, okay, file a cheating case, win the case in the court, but you write it online, then my entire career is affected. Today, most of the companies do online check of a person before they recruit him. So this is the problem. Why? Because 66A says you can write anything. Now, unless you file a defamation case and all and win the case in the court, there's no immediate remedy. Just do a simple exercise. Just go and Google, reputed minister's name, reputed IAS, IPS officer's name on Google. More than good thing, you'll only find bad thing about it. Some criticism article was written. All good things, we forget, but only bad things get shared. So that's unfortunately the reality. And that's because you removed the entire 66A. Maybe they could have removed a part of it, which was misused, which had vague words, but not the entire thing. So today, even to get something blogged online, I take a lot of time. I'll give you another scenario. There was one girl in Chennai who had a Facebook profile with a very decent photo. She's a teenage girl, and she had a decent photo. But then somebody tagged that photo with the obscene text content. The text was obscene in nature, in Tamil. So parents got to know, and like many Indians, parents initially blamed her for having an account on Facebook, for having friends on Facebook and all. But anyways, finally they go and file a FIR. So now this police will have to contact intermediaries. That is, they had to contact the Facebook. So they had to convince Facebook, look, this is not to do with your freedom of speech and expression of your user. This is obscene. You have to block it. But by the time you do all this, you have to contact Facebook's nodal officer. So it takes a lot of time. It's time-consuming process. Investigation is happening. You don't know who has posted it. So to find out who has posted it is a time-consuming process. To get it blocked also is a time-consuming process. Police were genuinely trying to do this. But meantime, this girl next day, with the hope that that post is not there, opens the Facebook. But she was shocked to see that it continued to be there and she committed suicide. Okay, after 3 days, we got to know, police got to know it was one of her neighbor who had committed the offense. He will get punished, but the further damage is already done. Now, most of these cases, what happens is YouTube or Facebook and all, they may not immediately respond because for them, your own Supreme Court allows people to write whatever they want. And for you to prove that it is obscene, it is terrorism and all, it will take time. You have to go to the court and prove. Till then, damage is done, especially in cases of women and children being victims. Yeah.
Madam, Dr. Mahesh B. Palkar is asking one question. Madam, how do you speculate about the crime involved in the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic throughout the world?
Yeah, so if it is with reference to cybercrime, yes, I think yesterday probably resource persons would have said, but otherwise also, most of the reports says there's increase in the cyber crimes because everyone is on this gadget now. Like you want to not, we're all on this. So a lot of victims are also online, accused are also online. So there's more scope to commit the crime, including cyber attacks and incidences of, especially since we're all teachers, so I can share it more openly. You come across cases where during the class, and I'm talking about school classes, not like colleges. So there were incidences of some, illegal content coming on the screen. And also this is how kids are getting in touch with each other in the online platform. So they started conversing. Conversing is okay, but they don't know who they're conversing. There are incidences of senior kids sending obscene material to junior kids. So all these are happening. Yes, certainly there's an increase also because, of course, it had to happen obviously because of increase in the usage. There is obviously increase in the number of crime also. There are also now that suddenly they got free time, not like before. So this probably is also the reason why there's also increase in the number of cases of access to porn material, access to CP material. People are trying to access it. So those cases have also increased. So, and this is not just cybercrime. If you can recollect, Bangalore earlier commissioner even said there is increase in number of domestic violence cases. So people are at home, there are frustrations, psychological issues,
psychological disturbance.
Yeah. So yeah. So
Madam,
let's come
actually,
to
we are receiving many calls to our mobile phone. We are not expected those calls. One from HSBC that do you need credit card? Then I asked that madam on the other side, how come you got my mobile number? Sir, we collected all these mobile number from some agency, sir. That means whenever we give the mobile phones to some government organizations like BSNL or somewhere in the ration card, how come these mobile phones the agencies can share to these people?
Yeah, yeah. At least the question is about government agencies. So they're more responsible. As of now, we don't have a section under IT Act under which government agency as an agency can be booked. But officers of government agencies,
Yes.
while doing their work, they come across our personal information. They cannot reveal it. So this is 72A. Sorry, 72. So it says any person authorized under the law to get access to your data, then reveal it. So while investigating a case, I got the data. Or while delivering a government service, I got your data. I should not reveal it. So if you're able to prove that I revealed it, under 72, I can also be covered, even though I'm a government officer. But if it is government agency, then you have to come to constitution. Under constitution, you can file a petition saying that government has breached privacy under Article 21. Right to life includes right to privacy. But that's again, where you have to go to High Court. So legally remedies are there, but factually, is it possible? Now again, since I think most of you are from Karnataka, you know what happened immediately after DK Ravi's case. So he committed suicide, a very reputed IS officer. And if you can recollect
Yes.
from the media, what happened immediately? Police went and seized his mobile phone. They got to know that he was quite close to one of his colleague, and like all his conversation with his colleague, she's a lady colleague. No, what was their relationship is not the issue, but his communication with lady colleague, everything, the entire WhatsApp, conversation came on TV. And that day's evening, this seizure happened in the day. By evening, all the evening newspapers had the entire conversation printed. So then my right to privacy, the one who has
Yes.
died, his privacy is gone, that his colleague's privacy is gone.
Yes.
If she wanted, she could have filed a privacy breach case. So yes, it's legally a wrong, but many times, factually,
Yes, madam.
files a
Yes,
case.
madam. Yes.
Yeah.
Madam, actually, what happens in all engineering colleges, our faculty members, they have put their profiles on their college website. In that profile, email ID, phone number, everything we can get it. But
Right.
when we get those email ID and the phone number, if we use it for ethical purpose, there is no issues. But
Right.
when such email IDs and such mobile numbers of all the faculty members of our faculties from their college website and misusing them, so who will be held responsible?
Right, sir. So there's some I think that's what it should get integrated with the way we live in our country. So we don't segregate the data into personally identifiable data and other data. Like today emails, phone numbers are all personally identifiable numbers. See, gone are
Yes.
the days when we had like one landline and everyone in the office was using. We all have individual numbers, and our numbers are our WhatsApp numbers. And in the WhatsApp, you get my profile picture, a lot of things you get, right? So a lot of personal information is shared. So, ideally, as a user, I should have a separate number for official purpose, separate for personal, but practically, it is not always possible for everyone. Second thing, you should have a separate email ID for university, separate for your personal. But again, many of us don't follow it. So it has to get built in our own way of life, our culture. So that's the issue. So then secondly, from the other person's side, I get to your university website. I know who you are. What's your designation? With designation, I can assess your financial position also with scale and all, right? So then I know who your colleagues are. See, one is that financial information indirectly gets leaked. Second is now I know your colleagues. So what I do, I just take your email ID. I just make a small change. Like Nagaratna, I just add one additional name, send emails to my colleague.
Yes.
They just say it's an email from Nagaratna. They don't bother to check the spelling of the email ID. So they
Exactly.
respond. This is how attacks are happening.
It
So
happens.
therefore, when we respond to suspicious email, even though it's come in the name of our own friends, we have to be very careful. So first is no banks will ask for sharing of confidential information on phone or email. And we tend to forget that when we respond. Secondly, if it's your colleague whom you want to immediately respond, better is to cross check if they are in some emergency. We don't do that. And what the incident I said happened in my own college. A senior professor thought he's helping the colleague and lost 50,000 recently. So this is how suddenly we lose that understanding ability, we respond and we lose. So yes, but off recently in Western country, this is taken very seriously. We had an delegate who come from abroad, and when she left on an official visit, she was very clear that, I hope all my, CCTV, footages from your institution is removed. They're so conscious about their personal, data. And then nowadays, I see that in their country, in their visiting card, they'll not mention phone number also. It's just like name, designation, official email. Let's stop sharing. But in our country, it has to be a part of our culture.
Yes, madam. That should be part of our culture.
As I said earlier, ours is a country where the first question many even now ask is about the caste. If
Madam,
that kind of-
another thing is our faculty members when they put their mobile number in the website, that is okay, one issue.
Yeah.
But some engineering colleges and the management compelling the faculty members mobile phone, they have to keep WhatsApp in their mobile phone. And then they keep sending the message. You should not send this message to outside because the mobile phone belongs to the faculty member. The
Right.
SIM card belongs to the faculty member. The currency to that mobile phone is paid by the faculty member. But someone is writing, yes, you have to keep WhatsApp, you have to keep Facebook. Whatever the messages that we send, you have to respond. And whatever the message that we send, you should not forward it to others. So these kind of things. And the same mobile number will be shared to the students also.
Correct.
Of course,
Yeah.
all our students, 90%, 99% of our students are very good, fine. But at least 1% of that section, if they misuse our mobile phone, then it will lead to digital crime in the country. So what I
Definitely.
am talking all this is how to prevent, how to reduce the digital crimes in India. So we need a policy at every level.
So that's what the one who's asking also shouldn't be asking for information more than what is required.
Yes.
In private MNCs, that culture has started. For example, Infosys, Wipro, and all, they have a very good privacy policy. It clearly says that even in the office place, the employer cannot ask for more details. I'll give you an example of how like very sensitive they and very wider their policies. Like example for women, I don't have to share if I'm pregnant about this news that I'm pregnant with my employer. Why should I share? It's purely my personal information.
It is purely
What
our
happens
personal.
if I share? If I share, maybe they'll not give me important assignment, thinking anyway she'll go on maternity leave. So it will start affecting my job profile.
Yes,
Can't
yes.
even ask this. They can't even ask my health related details. But however, if a particular department in that office is taking care of my medical insurance and all, they can ask only that department. But what happens is like in most of the universities and other places, that data is shared with everyone, right? So in your university also, or in my university also, it should become as a practice that, only this data can be asked by so-and-so. If that is required for your department to function, otherwise personal information shouldn't be asked. How many kids I have? You want to know to medically cover is fine. But don't share it with, say, some exam department. What will exam department do with my medical data? Though HR can have, but why should library, have this data? So like that. So, and anyways, sir, it's too a long way to go. Like Western countries, it's too much that they've gone, and sometimes it's like beyond what is required. So now there are like cases in Western countries saying like, no, teachers cannot reveal marks to parents of the students of the colleges if parents are not paying the fees. In a sense, I can reveal the marks of my students to the students' parents, provided parents are paying the fees. And in Western country, we know they earn while they, like take education. Those cases, I can't even reveal marks. So that is always too much. But in our culture, that's not probably as possible. So it's a very controversial issue. I think on data privacy, you should have one day like entire session. But yes, it's a very
No, madam, why I asked this question is because 5,000, more than 5,000 engineering colleges are there in this country, which
right.
all comes under AICTE, and only engineering colleges, other than medical colleges and other colleges, and including other medical colleges and the private colleges in the country. I think if the one cultural policy that not to collect the personal mobile phones of the faculty members and the email ID. I
Right.
think that should be the one of the culture if we bring it in the national policy. I
Yes.
think one section of the people at least saved their privacy. At least that can be misused. That private data of the faculty members can be misused. That such
Yes.
cases may come down.
Maybe
That is my
AICT or like UGC. So they should all like universities voluntarily can adopt a privacy policy saying, okay, you'll all get an official number and this is only for official communication.
official
Or you
purpose.
can yourself make this arrangement. Now because of COVID, everything's online. So
Sir,
suddenly this
sir,
environment
to add
you were
on this,
forced to get.
madam,
Dear participants, any other question?
So maybe
Yes,
something
sir,
that
yes, sir.
should come as a policy. Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to add, sir. Many a times we tend to give our personal data in hotels, malls.
Yes, sir, I was about to
Okay.
say that. Exhibitions,
Yeah.
you think you are going to win a lottery and give our
Not
personal
only
data.
college websites. Okay, we
Right.
tend to give all our personal data.
Then also,
That
in
could be.
addition to this, when you're making online purchase, also we think, or even otherwise also offline purchase, we give data because they say, we'll calculate your points and all. So we are ourselves disclosing data and forget about all this. Small kids, their data is more important. What's happening today in front of every college, every school, you see this big hoardings with kids' photographs, their
Yes,
percentage,
madam.
their name, and try to assess extent of breach of privacy. You now know the child photo is there, gender, name, with sometimes name. You also know the family name, that caste and all. And then looking at the school, I at least assess the financial ability, right? I can at least know the fees that the child is paying. So this can also be misused. So there are incidences of kidnappings that have happened because of online breach of privacy. So there's one case that had happened where a child becomes friend with another girl on Facebook. This is like around 16-year-old child. Now, why? Because initially he had just put a post saying, my blood group is so and so, a very unique blood group. Then that gets later related. So this child suddenly goes missing. When parents get it investigated and all, it was very hard to find where the child went. Then they got to know that child had got a friend on Facebook. She had asked him to come for a trip. From there, where the child has gone is not known. Later, it turned out to be a case of illegal organ transplantation. Child's body was found, vital body parts were missing. So you never know who's collecting what data. Why? Because medical data, health data is so easily shared online. And if you remember, at least still last year, suddenly on Facebook there was a request for sharing your blood group detail, saying, please share this; it will be useful for somebody. But why do you share it on a public platform? And today,
Yes,
my blood group is an extremely sensitive data. You
yes,
never
yes,
know who
madam.
wants it for what details. So sometimes, there are, I think, series made on, Netflix kind of platform also where vital organs, the way it is stolen and all. So, and that those kind of fiction can become reality tomorrow. You never know, probably it's already become reality also. That's the concern. So we should be very careful and educate our kids as to what they
Yes,
should
madam.
share, what they shouldn't share. There is another incident of an antivirus program, industry. I'll again not take the name of that industry. Very reputed antivirus program industry. So that industry CEO's son used to always write, "I'm going to school, I'm coming back from school," and all. Finally, got kidnapped, and his father had to pay huge ransom. Somebody who invented and manufactured antivirus program had to pay money because son disclosed identity. So a lot of issues like this. So it's a very complicated issue, as I said. So now we'll have to wait for PDP bill, which is pending before the Joint Committee of Parliament, Joint Parliamentary Committee. So they're looking at all this. So they intend to impose liability on the state for violating privacy, so that we'll be able to file cases on government if government is breaching. That adds to one of the question. Secondly, it is going to segregate data between child-related data, others' data. Child-related data, more legal protection will come in. So maybe then we can expect schools to be more careful. Other data also like this, vaguely they can't ask us to share their data and all. Law will be there. Whether we'll be able to use it as against our employers is another issue. Sometimes there are other factors that would matter, right? I wouldn't want to lose the job, so I compromise with my rights. But legally, yes, it's going to be more addressed through this upcoming.
Madam, in Google and all, we have the private, that is a private window, that is how it we are called as the incognito mode. But in mobile phone, we don't have private mode and the public mode. But
Right.
we have one more phone called, mobile phone called Crypto Phone 500 High, which was made by German, which is a point-to-point communication. Suppose if I make a call to you and if I make a conversation to you, and that will conversation holds good only during the duration of the conversation. Once I hook off my phone, or if you hook off my phone, that immediately the conversation will be lost. It will never exist and it will not be stored in any other server. We call it the cryptophone 500i. So the people who needs privacy, because privacy is also human individuals' right at the same time on their side, as long as they are using it ethically. So if they want to be a private mode, or if they want to use their mobile phone privately, to maintain privacy with their immediate member. So then they can use the cryptophone 500i. Why cannot India make cryptophone use of cryptophone 500i is a legitimate issue?
So I think we're only looking at it from our privacy perspective. But what if tomorrow terrorists use this, or like others who want to commit crime use this? How will state get evidence as it is? Yeah, but yeah, privacy perspective is good. But then where do we draw a line again here? Like when state wants, when police want this, information, how do they get this? So that's another challenge. So especially one object of this. PDP bill is also to empower the government so that they get data when they need it for investigation. Today, a lot of terrorism cases are leading to acquittal because they're not able to get this data. They're not able to get hold on this information. Why? Because it may be there on Facebook, it may be there on YouTube, but Facebook, YouTube, you name any popular internet service providers that Indians rely on: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Yahoo, Google. They're all functioning from US. They're all US based company. Now,
US-based company.
Get the information here is okay. You want to collect it from their company, in their server and all, they refuse because one is it's between country. I'll talk about it when we come to intermediary. So it's very, very hard. And upon that, encrypted data is good for our privacy. But how do I get it, when I'm investigating? The law allows for decryption. So that is anyways there, but decryption law is also very, very complicated. So when you see it as a police, it's very, very hard. But when you see it as a citizen, it's necessary. So I think we should, just have a law which takes care of all these concerns. Law should be very clear. Okay, your privacy will not be affected unless it falls under these conditions. And in this manner, we confiscate it. So I'm not saying that, police should be able to snatch a phone anytime, which actually happens in India. In US, police can confiscate my phone provided they get permission from the court. Okay, that is possible in US because their population ratio with number of courts is fine. In India, the ratio of courts are very less compared to number of cases, number of citizens. And by the time I go and get a court order, it is at least 10-15 days. And by then, if you are alert, you might even delete the. It's a very complicated scenario when it comes to India. Number of judges, number of police, number of crimes, the population, everything. But yes, I think slowly we are moving towards that direction where privacy will have its own legal, framework and all with constitutional guarantees taken care and all. That is supposed to be the object of PDP bill. But another fact we all know in our country, police have their own way of getting all data, which is all beyond the law. So, which we are very openly seeing in Maharashtra, how everything is violated, unfortunately now. And if that can happen to a journalist, you can imagine what can happen to a common person. So see it also from the accused perspective, the jeopardy that he suffers when there is a criminal prosecution against him. So that's another concern. So which we'll address when we take up investigation also. I'll just quickly end with intermediary. Who is an intermediary? If you look at section 2W, internet intermediary includes telecom service provider, internet service provider, online payment site, online marketing site, online shopping sites, and it also includes cyber case. So this is where your question about YouTube, Facebook, companies, platforms and all comes into picture. Are they liable? Section 79 of ITAL just says this. If I'm an intermediary, I'm only giving a platform like a dais. You come and perform and go. Why should I be liable if you perform wrongly? Right? So I'm giving a platform where A comes and posts something and B gets affected. It's a dispute between A and B. Why should I be liable? Because I've only given you the platform as a Flipkart or as a Facebook. Okay, so I'm not liable for third parties' activities. A and B are committing offenses against each other. I'm not liable. Unless it is proved that I knew that my platform was misused and I did not stop it. I knew that my platform was misused and I did not take care of preventing it. Only then I'm liable. Example, on Twitter, if you see any terror-related messages, or on Facebook, you see any women-related obscene content, child-related obscene content. So Facebook, of course, can't keep and watch every post, because huge number of users are uploading huge number of contents. They can't. They're trying to do it with artificial intelligence, but still not enough. But the moment you inform Facebook, look, there is an obscene content on your platform, please remove it. And if it is, as soon as I see it's very clear that it is illegal, I have to remove. Like at least child porn material, it is very clear to remove. But if it is something else which I'm not sure whether it is illegal or not, I have to wait for you to bring a court order. Till then, I'll respond to saying that, please come back with a court order. So I should do something which would show that I've been, I'm acting responsibly. So whether it is YouTube or not, this is the law today, which says that if it is about, say, terrorism or immediate threat is there because of this post and all, they remove it and they're trying to do it. If you remember, a lot of Twitter posts are blocked today because Twitter is convinced that this is going to affect law and order and all. Sometimes it is misused also because of political reasons, leftist, rightist, ideology and all. But they have to remove if they get to know, and they should also be careful in preventing this. They are careful and they did not know of the illegal activity, then they're not liable. They knew they did not stop, they're liable. I hope you got the answer. So whether it is YouTube or search engine, etc., you write an article, publish it, but I go on that website where you publish, I download, I publish it in my name. You along with that platform is liable unless the platform has shown that they've taken care and caution and still they didn't know what happened, then they're not liable. So this is the answer to the question relating to intermediaries.
Yes, madam. Madam, one more issue, because in India, after COVID-19 and after demonetization, so we are all going to be digitized at a very high speed. So I think our next, within 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, our life is completely digital life, and
Right.
we rely on everything. But madam, actually the social well-beingness itself is not sufficient. Digital well-beingness is also very much important. So in Western countries, in schools and schools level, they have a psychologist who can correct the behavioral attitudes of the kids right from their school. But even with such measures, in developed countries, the crime is increasing. Of course, that is there. But at least in India, if there is a national policy that every schools must employ a psychologist, that means a children's psychologist, who can observe the behavior of the kids and prepare them for digital well-beingness as well as for social well-beingness. I think it will bring some maturity in digital life, and the number of crimes may come down, including the social media crimes also. So, madam, can you
I
kindly
agree, sir. So there's a lot of mental health related issues here
mental health related
amongst
issues,
kids,
madam?
amongst users. So yesterday we had a National Commission for Women's webinar where a psychologist was saying. So a lot of issues definitely
Yes,
are on.
madam.
Now with sudden, exposure of this technology to kids, where they're forced to sit on this device for their online classes. As
Yes,
it is,
madam.
our kids were always on devices, so now like it's more, validly allowed. So of course, it will start affecting the health and all. So yes, it's good that if schools can have their own methods of dealing with it, including a counselor. A law school has a counselor, so it's a voluntary initiative that the colleges should take. Some schools have.
Some
So what
schools.
at least some schools are doing is, at least in the beginning of the year, they have a lecture, on legal aspects, on psychological aspects about this, cyber technology usage. I think like voluntarily institutions should do. The CBSE has come with its own guidelines, asking the CBSE board has come with guidelines asking schools to take care of these issues. So ICSE has also come up. So like that, some guidelines are coming. But then, unfortunately, what's happening is, these are just guidelines. Guidelines means you may or may not follow. It's not mandatory. But in US, they have laws and there is a separate law which requires government schools to do this, and separate law which requires private schools to do this. So that's what. So those are also like slowly happening in our country. But yes, it's a long way to go.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you.
Madam, I think your next sessions, I think, as you requested, it will be go
Yes.
by 3 or 4, madam.
So 4 o'clock. My other session is at 2:30. So 4
Yes,
is.
yes, madam. Dear participants, madam is having one important emergency meeting at 3 o'clock. So, madam is willing to join this next session at 4 o'clock. I request all my participants to kindly cooperate and be present at 4 o'clock. So, in order to accommodate madam to take up the emergency work. Madam,
Yeah. I'm
your
sorry for that
two
sudden change,
sessions are
but
very
I can
important.
cover.
You have
Thank
delivered very valuable information.
thank
So,
you.
to stay, we'll meet you in the next class,
Thank
madam.
you.
Thank you. All our
See
participants
you
have
at
a
4.
nice time, have a lunch, and come back at 4 o'clock. Have a nice time, my dear participants. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.